Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We're live here at Adventure Unknown in my office space where we now do the podcast as well. If you're in the St. Louis area, you haven't been to an AU in a while, or you've been thinking about coming, send me a message. I would love the opportunity to show you around. Awesome new facilities that we're getting ready to add, amenities, things like that. But it's a great place to network if you're a business owner, high-level professional, and just looking for a great community here in the St. Louis area. It's located in Fenton, Missouri. Today, we're going to dive into an awesome episode. My guest and I go back over a decade. We got connected through a mutual friend of ours, Jameson, back when we were both just getting started, finding our footing in really probably life. Really young, probably making dumber decisions than we do today. Working for other people, though, riding the ups and downs of all that, and somewhere along the way between the grind and a whole lot of golf, we became friends over time. This is going to be an awesome episode because we've seen now Bryson start his own company, and from there we've been doing some of his digital marketing work as well. We've watched each other grow, though, up in a lot of different ways, professionally and personally. We've both eventually made the leap to go out on our own at different stages, and there's something powerful about having conversations with friends of yours that are also entrepreneurs, because it's really, really tough to just go talk to the average person and say, hey, I'm dealing with this. I have payroll, I have employees, I have customers, I have all these different headaches. We then both got married. We both have a son. We've supported each other through it, celebrated the wins, talked about the hard stuff as well. Now we get to sit back today and look at where we are. So Bryson Kinkade is our guest today, the owner of Kinler Services. I'll let him tell a little bit about Kinler, but it's been awesome watching his journey, becoming an entrepreneur, growing this business from when he first started it a couple of years ago, and then helping him out on the marketing side along the way. So Bryson, man, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Dude.
I really, really appreciate it. The infamous Adam McChesney, the ultimate builder of authority himself. As you said, we go way back, and I'll never forget one day we were sitting in your pool and you told me, you said, Bryson, you need me and you need to join Builders Authority. You need me to come in and help you market. And I looked at you and said, I don't need that right now. I don't need Builders Authority right now. I think I was in a position then where I was trying to grow. I was already underwater. I was by myself running this business. I was doing everything from the sales to the production to the invoicing to, customer management, every piece of the business. I was running it all by myself. And I just remember thinking in that moment, it's like, man, I'm just already underwater. I don't know how I could possibly take on more business. And then I think that was me being scared. I eventually said, you know what, it's time to expand and delegate and hire. And you're always worried about what that's going to cost and what that's going to take. And I don't come from a family that ran businesses. I didn't go to college to run a business, so I'm navigating all of this, just watching everybody else and through my networking and watching everybody else again grow their business. So it was scary. I was extremely scared. And as I progressed in my business, I realized that it is good to be scared. And no matter what happens, as long as you work hard and you put in the time, seems to always work out.
Yeah.
It may not go exactly how you think it's going to go. And there's going to be trying times. There's times where you get in and your heart's racing out of your chest and you're trying to figure out, hey, what's the next step? But for some reason, everything always ends up working out as long as I'm working hard.
Yeah. So let's go back to probably when you and I first met. I know you were working obviously for somebody else. Did you know that you were going to run your own business?
I didn't know I was going to run my own business, no. But I always had a problem with authority anyway myself. You know what I mean? Working for anyone. So I was a firecracker anyway, and that I'm very particular in the way that I like things run, and that was part of why I ended up starting my own business. I really wasn't happy with the way that they were operating that business and how the functionality was. So I said, man, I'm selling enough of this. I think I could probably go start this on my own. And then that's what led me to my partner. I have a partner, Justin Waller, who owns a business with me. He lives down in Florida, down in Sarasota, Florida. So he's hands off, but the two of us, I came to him, I said, I think I can do this, and I think we can be very successful. We went and grabbed a unit down here in Fenton and ended up flipping a little condo down here in Fenton, and then that started the wheels rolling, and then once the wheels were in motion, the bus never stopped.
Yeah.
Now we're picking up people as we continue down the road, like, hop on in, let's go. Now we got a couple employees, got a production manager running my production now, just hired a new sales guy, so now we're 3 deep, me included, and it's like the stepping stones are finally, I feel like I've been laying this foundation for the last 5 years, and it's finally come to where I feel like, okay, now I have what I need to really step into this next step of marketing and really level up my business into the next step.
Yep, and tell the audience kind of everything you guys do.
Yeah, so we're a full service general contracting company. Our main footing is the restoration business. So storm damage, hail, wind, fire, anything along those lines, that's really our main footing. We also flip, and we flip houses. We sell. We're not in the business of managing anything, but anything that I can dabble in and make a little bit of money, we're happy to do it. We're real big on the remodel side too. We do a lot of remodel with our restoration business. We couple that together quite often. Obviously, you have something happen in your home, it's time for upgrades, and that's when we're ready to do them. So we come in just now getting ready to offer financing on all of that too. So getting ready to step into that side of things. But everything full service. Our motto from the concrete to the roof and everything in between. We're the only contractor you need.
Did you have experience? So I know like the company before, you did something kind of similar when you were working there. Before that though, did you have experience doing a lot of this stuff, or was it just like, hey, I got on with this company and I kind of learned the game?
No, I was a free flyer. I joined the Army after high school. I was in the infantry for my 3-year stint, and then I got out and I was lost. I ended up going back to my hometown, Bowling Green, Louisiana, Missouri. And I was really lost. I didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up moving down here. And like you said, I got involved with a property management company, Worth Clark Realty, when they had the property management side. Now, Worth Clark Realty is pretty prominent on just the real estate side with agents. And they had a big property management side. We were running the maintenance division. That's how Justin, my partner, and I ended up meeting each other. Okay. Justin was running it, and I was just under him. And they came to everybody and said, hey, we're selling this side of the business. So when they did that, we were giving a lot of work to another company. Reclaim Services were no longer around. And I jumped over to them, started selling with them, and that's where I decided, hey, I think I can run this a little bit more efficient than what this is going on. Justin went to another part of the business where he was feeding me a lot of work, and then that's where the two of us said, all right, let's join together again and then make this happen. So
I remember when you guys did our stuff at the condo. Remember when we had the
that's
water
right.
coming up
Before the big move. That's right.
You guys came in, took care of the water issues, and then
that had to be when I was brand new first in the industry.
It was very quickly, and I was just like, hey man, I don't know what to do with this shit.
I think I was still learning what to do with it at that time too.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So as you're kind of getting through, like saying, hey, I think I can do this more efficiently, was that like how long were you there, and then did you have a plan of like when it was going to go do it, or were you just kind of like, and I can't remember, I know we've talked about this before, but I can't remember the exact like tipping point where you're like, hey, I'm just going to go do it?
Yeah, so no, I was there for about 4.5 years, and I was selling about $1 million a year worth of business, but Reclaim at the time wasn't providing me a lot of leads. They weren't providing me any of the back end help to sell the business. And I was watching all that develop, and then the production side wasn't happening the way that I wanted it to happen. I thought, man, there's not a lot of help here on the sales side. So these are my sales, my leads. It's like if I'm not happy with this, then maybe it's time to leave. And then the owners and I were kind of at odds, and I was a young punk, there's just no doubt about it. When I was younger, I had a mouth on me, and it was one of those things, that's something I had to learn, and I still am learning. It's like, you can't fight fire with fire, especially as a business owner. You have to really be able to take a deep breath and hear what other people are saying and be able to work with them. And that's something I struggled with when I was, still struggle with a little bit now, but, really struggled with then. So the two of us didn't see eye to eye. And it's like, all right, it's time for me to split. So we amicably split. It's like, all right, I'm done and you're done. So and it almost just thrusted me into the business more than it did anything, Then now here I am, and it's like, all right, now we're going to make it work. So, And then here I am now 5 years later myself, and quick 5 years, and lots of growth, lots lots of up and downs and navigating all that.
So when you went, because a lot of people that we've worked with or had on the podcast, right, they came from a similar aspect where they were like in an industry and then they said, hey, I want to go do it on my own. Or there's people listening that are like, hey, I work somewhere and I want to go do it on my own, right? When you went and did it on your own, were you like, oh gosh, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about running a business?
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Luckily I have an awesome wife, my wife Madison, and she's an accountant herself. She owns an accounting business where she does a lot of small business, manages small businesses and their books. So I had a bookkeeper and an accountant that I could already rely on in that sense. And then my business partner Justin is just very knowledgeable, very calm, the opposite of me. So our personalities jived really, really well. And I think that the two of us together were able to really settle each other down and come up with this plan that was like, okay, we can do this. We just have to get in here and work hard. And then, I didn't know anything about really running a business, to be honest with you. It's like I knew the books needed to be run, and I just knew that I could sell really well, and I was good at selling these products. So somehow I kept selling, and it kept coming in, and we learned how to manage it as we went more than anything. So I've built these SOPs now that a lot more efficient than I was 5 years ago, almost uncomparable to where we were 5 years ago. And the organization's completely changed. I just opened up a new shop. Like I said, it's just a total different atmosphere and progression point that I'm at right now than it was 5 years ago. It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the hardest part for a lot of people is, especially as sales, people like you and I, where we both came from sales, we both came from stuff. And I hear it from a lot of, like our contracting clients across the country. They're like, hey, my top sales guy just left and started his own company. And a lot of times, right, as salespeople, we're like, oh, we can go sell our way out of any problem. And then that's true to a certain degree, where we realize, oh, you know what? I got to go back in and make sure we have the software, we have the technology, we have the management of everything. And that's, I think, the hardest part to overcome, realizing that, it's not just selling. That's exactly like right. A very small percentage of the entire business.
100%. A follow-up on leads. Lead management is a huge thing. And I'm still struggling with lead management right now. As I've come on a Builders Authority, because I get so much lead in, and you're working on these jobs, some things slip through the cracks, but that's something we're really trying to fine tune, because we really don't want any of that happening. So we're still molding ourselves right now to handle the influx of work that's coming in, and I don't think that'll ever change, really. I don't think so. But a lot of people don't understand what it really takes to manage the money and the money flow, because the money flow will kill you really, really quickly if you jump in feet first and you're not really paying attention to everything that's going on, because you can spend all this money and then look up. And especially if you're in my space, when you have higher dollar jobs, you get a lot of people pay you a bunch of money, you're paying out, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then you look at the balance sheet and you're going, oh my goodness, I'm underwater right now, I got to figure out how to fight back. And that happened to me many a times, and now we're much better at managing the money and much better at managing that money flow. Everything seems to come to, but there's still always that in the back of your head. I think that's one of the main things that I really had to get a grip on, and I'm still learning right now. Especially as I get employees. And then you get it's so deep as you get these employees. You get the employees, you get the employee tax, you get into benefits, and the amount of money that you pay as a business owner. I had no idea what all of this was going to entail, and now I'm in it, and it's like, wow.
No, it's like every which way. I mean, I've had U.S. employees, now mostly all remote. Well, actually all remote, but mostly in Latin America. Then we've had the auto glass company. Then we now have the roofing company up in Long Island. And I've just seen from the inside, much less talking with other people that are clients or people in my network. It's just like there's so much that goes into it that if you try to consume it all at once and tackle every problem under the sun, it can be daunting, right? And extremely difficult, which kind of leads me to my next question. I know you mentioned multiple times of like, you were a firecracker, you were all that stuff, like as the individual. Who has Bryson had to become personally as the business owner to evolve with the business separately from, we're working on SOPs, we're doing this, but like, who did you have to become to get to where you're at today?
I had to find my faith again. I had lost myself in my faith. My wife brought us back to God, and I think that was something that really brought me back to earth, And as I progress and I become more mature over time, you learn you get more bees with honey than you do by kicking the hive. So it's taken a lot of time and it's taken a lot of self-reflection. And the person that I've had to become is much calmer, somebody that can hear somebody speak and not respond right away. Taking that time and that pause to hear what they said and not take things personal either. As a business owner, a lot of the times you're putting out the fires, so especially when you get into having employees, these guys are out here selling and doing the things that they need to do, and then the problems come to you. So what defines you is how you're going to handle those problems. Are you going to be the Mr. Firecracker that can't handle himself in that moment of stress where your employees need you and these customers need you at the same time? And my industry is very stressful. A lot of the times you come in, these people are in a peril. They may have a tree that just crushed their entire home. They don't know where they're living. Their stuff's, everything is just in complete peril in their life. So you're having to come in and manage that along with the project itself. So being calm, being collected, something that I really had to dig deep and put into me. But I think that God has led me to that. And I do think that has also led me to much more success, being positive. Everybody thinks that you can't use the power of attraction while you're a Christian for some reason. And I don't understand what that is. Because I believe that if you're morally living that way, the way that the Word of God believes you should live, and you're attracting all those positive vibes, that's exactly what the power of attraction is. It's the more positive that I can stay, the more positive the experience will be for me and for the people around me. So a positive attitude every single day, no matter who's around you and what's going on, is essential if you're going to be the business owner and you're going to be the leader.
Yeah. So great insight there, and I agree with all of that. Two piggyback questions from there was part of that, two-sided question, was part of that the environment of the people that you were with and maybe aren't, not that you don't see them anymore, but maybe you don't spend as much time with them? Because that's what I went through over the last 5 years, and especially over the last 2 or 3 years. And then second question was, does having a kid change that too? Because that's both of those things did that, where I started to spend more time around people like I do at Adventure Unknown, or most of my friends that I still talk to when I see you. Like, I see you probably the most of all of my friends combined with everybody else, but a lot of times we're doing business or playing golf or doing other stuff together. The older you get, the less you just do, right? So there's that aspect of it. So I think the environment helps, but I also think having a kid changes everything.
Does. When I was by myself, I was running so much business, and I was just running ragged. You know what I mean? So I think that was kind of part of it. Every single day, I tell people, almost felt like I was jumping out of an airplane. If you've ever skydived, you jump out of the airplane, it's like, it's like, where am I going and what's going on? Every morning I'd wake up and it was feeling like I was just jumping out of an airplane. Because I needed more organization. I needed help. And I was just so scared to go out and get that help and take that next step. And now that I have, man, what a difference is made with my attitude and my personality. And then, I do think that there's been a position of change where I'm not going out and doing the things that I used to do because I had a kid. That then, drives you into this whole different thing. When you're a leader for your children and you're a leader for more people, you have to really hone in on what that means to you as a person if you're going to be that leader, And for me, that means being a positive piece of anybody's life that can influence you to be the best person that you can be, so that you can deliver for me, and that I can keep you happy delivering for me, so that together we can both thrive.
Yeah. I think the hardest part is, and I made a post about this, I think 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, just about the weight that we have to carry as the business expands, because you add more customers, you add more employees, then all of their families are, and as mentioned, for you, right? You're helping them a lot of times restore their life, the clients and the customers that you work for, right? And that pay you to do that stuff. There's so much weight that we have to carry, and it's well, if I don't change myself, every single new employee that I add, every single new customer that I take on, every single new project or whatever I try to dabble in, if we're not constantly evolving, right, we're kind of reaching our capacity there. And that's been, I think, the hardest part. And especially as a lot of this stuff for me personally is happened so quickly. And I know you've experienced a lot of growth recently too. It's like I have to constantly outgrow the company in order to be the leader that runs that company. Because, you know, I look back and a year ago we had like 13, 14 employees, and now we have 45. And I'm like, the amount of growth that I've had to do in the last 12 months, like, it's so difficult to put my finger on everything and touch it all. But if I didn't do a lot of that stuff, I'd still be acting and crumbling, because this stuff that I deal with today would have crushed me years ago.
Yep.
But the last thing on that specific point is that in all of that growth and in all of that stuff where you see all of the impact that you're having, I think it gives you another level of appreciation of like, I built this shit.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So how have you gone back and reflected on a lot of those things to make sure that you're like, I know we're always pushing for more, right? But like, shit, look what I've built.
Yeah. And you know, it's hard. It's a delicate balance, because you want to be humble about what's going on. You also want to be proud of what's going on. And I think that there's a lot of people that struggle with that, being proud about what's going on. You know, if you did build something like this, like for me, it almost seems surreal.
Yeah.
Still for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
5 years so fast, and then you look up and you got these employees and your business is thriving and you keep moving in the right direction, and almost like, man, I don't even know how I keep doing this. It just keeps moving, and you know, and through all those experiences, every single one of those experiences creates something that you should learn from. So if you're not taking that and putting that practice into how you're running your business when you learn, then you're going to fall into the same trap that you were just in before. So you have to be able to mold yourself, and you have to be able to adapt to the situation. Like you said, going from 13 to 45 employees, I can only imagine how much different just the approach to dealing with those employees and making sure everybody's happy is, while also being a leader that drives 45 employees. I have 2 employees, and I tell both of my employees, who I trust very dearly, who I've spent a lot of time with before I hired them, so I knew exactly who they were. I told them both when they were hired, this isn't the same as working for anybody else. Earlier, Jimmy referenced Wolf of Wall Street. I said, this is almost a Wolf of Wall Street style hiring for you guys. I'm not giving you paid time off, because I don't mind how much time you take off. Don't be egregious, and don't put yourself in a position where you're hampering me or the amount of work that you need to have done to pay for yourself.
Yeah.
And take care of your families. Make sure that if you have something that you need to be at, that you're there. Because ultimately, if you two are happy, you two are going to work a hell of a lot harder for me in that scenario than you are if I'm demanding all these things. Now, that's a lot different when you have 45 employees, you know what I mean? And you have all these different personalities that may be trying to take advantage in different ways.
Yeah.
But where I am right now, that's how I'm running my business, because I need those guys to be as happy as they can be, so that they can give me the best of them that is available for me. Yeah.
Well, and I think to your point, like, and this is just what I've experienced, is going back to even like the 13, or going back to a year ago when I went so I'm going to Nicaragua again in like 6 weeks. And this will be my 4th time there in the last 2 years. The first time there were 7 of us, right? So it's like, we could get away, like the company could get away with whatever, because we were so small, and there was all these things, and everybody knew what everybody was doing. It's like now, right? There's a whole process to freaking everything inside of the company, which is awesome, because back when there was 7 of us, everything still ran through me.
Sure.
Every prospective interview, from a client to, or not a client, to an employee, to me closing all the deals and sending out, like, so much stuff has changed. But there are people on my team now that I've actually, not that I haven't spoke to them, but like I've done an introduction call to the company for like 15 minutes.
Right.
And that's all.
And that's it.
Right? And so part of it as well is like, it helps you grow in a good way to truly run the business, because those early employees that you have, right, you get to know them better, which is great. But there's also kind of that weird boundary between, there starts to be that kind of like friendship, right?
Trust.
Where
Trust is really being built.
All of that stuff too. But those can sometimes be the people that, like, oh, that's just Adam, or oh, that's just Bryson, or whatever. And now it's like, some people are like, Adam, like, I want to get to know you like X, Y, and Z person gets to know you. I'm like, man, you can't just build that overnight. And I used to do every quarter, I used to do 30-minute meetings with every single employee. And then when we reached to 30, our COO was like, Adam, you physically can't do this. You're going to be doing this every single week, essentially. And it was tough because it was like what I love to do, but at the same time, it's just like you have to delegate and I would say more stop doing a lot of the things in the early days that what you used to do, that you were comfortable with, that you enjoy doing, because it no longer benefits what you need to do inside of the company today.
No, and I couldn't agree more with that. I could not agree more with that. As like you said, is when you can get away with a lot more and build that relationship. My two guys, Josh and Michael, the relationship I built with them, and when I hired them both, I said, I hire you for this position, Josh, as my production manager, but you're somebody that I'm going to lean on as a professional in this industry for over 30 years. It's almost a higher up, if you will, for me, because I needed his knowledge and I needed him to help guide me when I didn't know the answer to the situation. And I felt like I could rely on him before I hired him in that capacity, which then has translated now to everyday situations. There's all kinds of situations where Josh will lead me where I didn't think of something that it's like, oh my goodness, good thing you told me to do this, because that really just protected my ass on the back end of this, So that part of it for me was essential whenever I was picking my production manager and who he is now. Could not be happier with the business side of things with him and how he's running everything for me. And I do think that leads into, as we progress and hire more employees, I feel like I can put more on his shoulders so that I can do what I'm good at, and I can get the marketing in, and I can provide the leads for my sales guys. I can get all that done while I'm trusting him to get the production done on the back end without any hiccups.
Yeah. Well, I think with that, right, it's like now I'm spending more time than ever with my leaders, right, to pour more into them that I used to pour into the entire company, so they can then go pour into those people.
They can lead.
Like you were just mentioning, so they can lead, so they can manage, so I don't have to go and do all that. Because it's like, when you're the eyes and the ears and the decision maker for everything, right, you're going to be the bottleneck inside of your company, because we can't be there at every given moment.
And when you have so many jobs running all the time, it's like we're 20 jobs deep running typically, so it's like there's so much to see and manage and make sure that your eyes are on. I physically just I could not do it. Just like you're talking about it on an employee side of things, on a job side of things, exact same way. I just could not do that. So you got to have someone like Josh that's out there that you can make sure you can rely on, and that it's going to get done right. And then the relay back to you is also accurate and totally truthful and forthcoming, so that the two of you are on the same page. If there's an issue that needs to be brought to you, and you got to be trusting that guy's going to bring the issue to you too, to be able to be handled right away as well, because everybody's not perfect. He might make a mistake that he has to bring to you, and he has to feel confident to bring that to you, so you guys can make the change. So
So what separates you guys? And I know, obviously, everybody probably asks you that when you're networking or whatever, like, why should I trust you versus everybody else? But like, what would you say are things that you believe to be true, your customers tell you, you just know, like, hey, we're doing this differently in our space, and it's contributed to some of the growth?
I think what sets us apart is our ability to find your needs and then deliver on your needs. Like I said, there's a lot of situations we come into. Everybody's in peril. You're in an insurance claim. Your house may have burned down. A tree may have fallen on your house. So you have a lot of people bum rushing you, from the insurance companies to the construction companies. Everybody's all at once, and you have to figure all this out in a position that you didn't even anticipate trying to figure that out. How can I build trust with you? And me, to make sure that I'm a good fit for you and I'm able to handle your needs, right? Because I may not be the best fit for you if we're not jiving, right? But we act as a liaison for our clients. With the insurance company, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of lingo that needs to be understood. There's policy limits. There's so many different things that you as a consumer may not understand that we understand on a very, very deep level.
Yeah.
We know how to speak it to the adjusters. We know how to make sure that you're getting what you're entitled to within these insurance claims. And building that trust and then delivering on that is what you have to do. And I think we're really good at handling those insurance claims, acting as your liaison, making sure you're getting what you're entitled to, making sure you're not being taken advantage of, and then delivering a good product at the end of it as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that's what, as a consumer, so many people are worried. Like, you hear the horror stories, whether it's dealing with the insurance companies, dealing with the adjusters, or dealing with the contracting companies. And especially if you need like 7 things done, if you have to go manage personally 7 different companies to go do that, it's a nightmare, right? And so that, obviously to somebody that hasn't gone through something catastrophic like that, knowing somebody like you, right? And if I had knew people that needed that stuff, like, there's a peace of mind that comes along with it, right? That you're like, oh gosh, like, I don't have to handle it all on my own. There is an option out there versus me going and doing those different things. And then my second question on top of that where do you think contractors growing their business get stuck to where people say all the time, like, oh, I hate working with contractors? Is it because of what you just mentioned, where it's like, hey, I build that rapport, I get that trust from somebody, and then I don't deliver on what I sold them?
I think that's a portion of it. I think that in the insurance world, there's contractors that stay away from the insurance because of the paperwork and how intense getting all the approvals are and that entire operation goes. So I think that that's a big separator in our industry alone. There's just a lot of contractors that don't want to deal with the insurance companies. So, you get into the process with them and they think, oh, this is going to work out just fine. Then you're battling an insurance company on an approval and your homeowner's upset because they're not, they're catching out of pocket costs. And so that's what separates us in that moment. We're going to make sure it's approved by the insurance company. We're going to get it approved by the insurance company if it's not already, and that's what separates us in that field. But a lot of those contractors, I think, get caught up in that situation where you think you can handle it real easy, you get caught up in the paperwork, then all of a sudden you can't. And you're right, then I can't deliver on what I'm telling you I can deliver on because I can't speak the lingo either. So, and that's frustrating for the homeowner. That's frustrating for the contractors themselves too. It's like you get into all that and you're doing a lot of work as a contractor to try to secure it. And if you can't figure it out, how frustrating on your end too.
So I know you guys do, like, piggybacking on that a little bit, I know you guys do a lot of different services because, again, if somebody needs all those different things, right? How do you guys understand, like, what's a good fit for you guys? And, like, what's your bread and butter versus, like, because everybody's like, oh, the chuck in the truck or the handyman that does everything, the Mr. Fix-It-Upper or whatever. Like, how have you guys managed that? Because I feel like that's a complex part of, like, one day you're doing this, the next day you're doing that, the next day you're doing that. Like, have you just been doing it for so long where you get it, or is it still a little bit complex at times?
I think that we just get the insurance work now, and that's why our business is really set and driven by restoration and insurance restoration. We're signed up with multiple companies that just feed us insurance work because we're a trusted vendor with the insurance companies themselves. So we've really just set ourselves apart. Josh has been in the industry for 30 years now. I've been in the industry for over 10 years now. That's why our footing is so strong within that side of the business, is because we know how it operates and we act it. We tell all of our clients, like, we're a liaison for you, and it benefits us to go get what you're entitled to, because the more money we can pull out of them, the more money we make anyway. You know what I mean? So it's you and us versus the insurance companies, right? And it's not egregious by any means. This is what you're entitled to. We're going to make sure you're going to get that. We know how to speak it to them, and that's how we're going to deliver this to you guys, and then make sure that happens. And more often than not, it works out exactly like that. There's times that it doesn't always work out great, and there, you have issues, but more often than not, no, you don't, and that's what sets us apart. And that's why we've driven our business through the restoration side 100%. Yep. Also kind of recession proofs you almost in a way, not totally. Like right now, it's very slow on the insurance side. There's not a lot of storms that have come through, so the insurance world had kind of slowed down just a little bit, and you're moving into more of a remodel pace right now than you are an insurance restoration pace. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to weather that storm just like you would weather a storm of no remodel if you were a remodel company, and that side of the world was the money gets tight. So there's always going to be a push and pull. You got to be able to do both, and you got to stay strong at both of those things, because there's going to be a balance that's going to have to be had eventually, no matter what happens. Yeah. So the insurance work is what we specialize in. That's what we're really good at. The remodel world, we're obviously fantastic at it, just because that's what we do as a business. So we can drive both of those, but on the insurance side, we set ourselves apart. Really, we truly do. So
yeah. What's next? I mean, what are you trying to do with all this?
I think what's next for us is we're going to start moving into some new build options, I think, is what we're going to start moving to. And I think we might do that down in Florida. I think we're going to start a Florida division down in the Sarasota, Tampa Bay area with Justin, and one of my other really good buddies, Brendan Ross, is actually moving down there in September.
He is.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to him in a while.
Ross is moving in September to, I think he's moving more Naples area. Okay. So the two of them are going to get together. We're working on our GC license in Florida right now, so that we can expand that side of the business, and hopefully the two of them can get together and get that rocking by the end of the year. We're going in-house here, carpentry-wise. We do a lot of subcontracting because we have so much business. It's like we're running everything from a plumber, HVAC, electric, to a framer and a flooring guy. So everything in between the roof and the concrete, we're doing it all. So we have so much that we subcontract. We're going to move into some more in-house guys for us to start improving just our timing and everything else, and then expand into Florida. That's our next step. So that's really, awesome, really excited for that next step of the business. Hopefully I'll be down. And then that's where you and I will be talking next too. And here we go. We'll get some condos going down there.
Gotta get them going, man.
Exactly right. Next couple of years.
Man. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, any last piece of advice, maybe something we did talk about today that you just want to hammer home, or something we didn't talk about that somebody listened to it, they're in the thick of it in entrepreneurship. They're just trying to say, hey, is this worth it? Am I continuing to do the right things? Any last piece of advice that you'd like to share?
Don't give up, Don't give up. Everybody always says don't give up. Always keep pushing forward. But that truly is it. You can't expect results without putting in hours of and actually putting in the time. So you get what you put in. Don't give up. You're going to struggle. There's going to be ups and downs. And if you can weather the storm, you're going to come out better on the back end. There's always blue skies on the back end. So if you are able to weather those storms and put yourself in a position where you can handle the stress, you can do it. So don't give up on yourself, and keep going. Love it, man. Where can people stay connected with you, learn more about Kinler Services, all that good
Anywhere,
stuff?
Facebook, online, Google. We need to actually get more into the Instagram space and our TikTok spaces, but really anywhere that you guys are looking for us, you're going to be able to find us, and please come find us. Awesome. We're happy to help you. So awesome. We'll put all that in the show notes, but man, thank you so much for coming on. How was it?
It was fantastic. Thank you for having me. I've been listened to a few podcasts before today, and then was really listened to a bunch of them before I came down, just to kind of get a tone on how all this was going to go. And I think I've been missing a little piece of this, so this is going to get put into my podcast weekly, so that I can start to. I heard Jimmy talk about how he went from in-person networking to almost no networking to then digital networking. And I am kind of moving back into that space, moving towards that digital space as well. And And now that I feel like I have my foundation set, that's really where I'm going to push my business now. So hopefully you guys will be seeing me a lot more in your face through those marketing techniques. And
you guys are using JobTread, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you got to go to JobTread Connect in Dallas in January.
Yeah.
It's the big event. We're sponsoring it. So
you are?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have to go down with you.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man.
I appreciate
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your business, and playing golf in a couple weeks in a golf tournament.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
So
Looking forward to that.
too. Thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode. We'll have all of Bryson's stuff in the show notes, so make sure to go follow Kinler Services and stay in touch with Bryson along the way. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the show, leave us a review, and then share this content on social media. We'll see you next week. And remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.